Mikey Garcia versus Robert Easter Jr. Is Errol Spence Jr. next? We get into all that coming up next. Please like and subscribe. Leave a comment below. Help us get to 1,000 subscribers. Welcome to Friday's Check Hook. Big week in boxing, capped off by a lightweight unification fight between Mikey Garcia and Robert Easter Jr. for the WBC and IBF straps. Mikey's obviously a huge favorite. We're picking him to win by decision, wide decision. Check all that out at the website 3dboxingblog.com, 3dboxingblog.com, where the fight doc gives his official predictions and preview. We think Mikey should win a wide decision. But this is a good fight. It's a legitimate fight. Easter's a good fighter. The IBF champ. He's put together a few good wins. Most interesting about this fight is who's going to be in attendance, which is Errol Spence Jr. Errol Spence Jr. is going to be ringside tomorrow night at the Staples Center. What's the reason? Is there an agreement reached already? Is he going to get in the ring? Is this just a hype job? He's there for a reason. You know, he's been invited there to sit there. He's there for a reason. What is that reason? Why is Errol Spence sitting ringside? We think a Mikey Garcia and Errol Spence fight is going to happen this year in December. I'll tell you why and why we're against that fight as well. It makes sense for both fighters. It's a legacy fight for Mikey. Mikey thinks he's the best fighter in the world and he isn't afraid of bigger guys. And he's willing to prove that. This would make him a 5-division world champion should he be successful in beating Spence, and we're in no way picking him to do that. We believe he thinks he can win. You know, he certainly thinks that he can win. There's nobody more confident than Mikey Garcia. A 5-division world champion would put Mikey in some elite company. It would put him. It would cement his legacy for sure, right? Mayweather's a 5-division world champion. It is elite status stuff. It would make him just the 6th fighter ever to do that. Listen to these names he would join if he could beat Spence and become a welterweight champion. Right? It would put him alongside Tommy Hearns, Manny Pacquiao, Floyd Mayweather, Oscar De La Hoya, and Sugar Ray Leonard. And then it would be Mikey Garcia. That's pretty elite territory for the younger Garcia brother, who thinks he can win. So why wouldn't he do it, right? It makes sense for him. If I think I can beat Errol Spence, it would be the biggest fight I can make monetarily. It would put me in that elite company, and all those guys are stars. Would it make me a pay-per-view star? Well, you'd have to think so, right? He's basically, in essence, is done what Mayweather and Pacquiao and Oscar did, which is just seamlessly jump up through weight classes. So it's a legacy fight for Mikey, and he thinks he can win it. For Spence, he's desperate to fight 3 times this year and is looking to create his own legacy. So for this year, he has stopped Peterson in January, and then he stopped Ocampo in the first round with a body shot this summer. Not exactly murderer's row, and not exactly something you can build his legacy on. None of this is Errol's fault. He wants to make the big fight. It's just not available for him right now. Mikey Garcia is a pound-for-pound elite, big name, right? Big star power. This is why he wants the fight. If he were to fight Ugas or Vargas, which are the other realistic names, good fighters, but that would do nothing to bolster his legacy, right? To have 3 fights in 1 year, and those 3 names be Peterson, Ocampo, and then either Vargas or Ugas. That's got to be disappointing. You got to start looking at Al saying, hey, you got to do better than this. But it's not Al's fault either. I mean, Danny is tied up with Showtime, so those guys are out. Keith is MIA, and they're not talking where the Heat play at. So what is the fight that you want? You know, all the big names are off the table, and Terrence Crawford is on the other side of the fence. So that fight's not really possible at this particular time either. So Mikey Garcia is the biggest name and the best fight that can be made. Mikey wants to fight. Errol wants to fight. The timing of it is perfect. They'll both schedule, fight again at the end of the year. It would both, Mikey fights on Showtime, Spence fights on Showtime. It works out, and it makes sense for both. It's a scalp for Errol Spence, right? It's a name. I beat Mikey Garcia. That speaks volumes compared to I beat Ordonis Ugas or I beat Jesse Vargas, which really, again, good fighters, they do nothing for your resume. Mikey's at least a scalp, and it's a big fight. It's a big fight, and it would make Errol a lot of money. I don't know if it would be a pay-per-view fight. Let us know what you guys think. It's Mikey Garcia versus Errol Spence. Assuming Mikey wins, obviously. Is this a pay-per-view fight? Because it could be. It's an interesting fight, and it's not one that we think should be made. And here's why. This is a theme that we sing over and over and over again. Fight the best guys at your own weight class. Mikey Garcia is a lightweight. He's a big, solid lightweight. There are plenty of good fighters to fight at 135 pounds. Obviously, Lomachenko, right? But there are other top lightweights you can fight. You can fight Linares. You can fight Lewis Ritson in the UK. You can fight Luke Campbell. Clean out 135 in its entirety. You can fight Richard Coleman. Tank Davis is eventually going to be at 135 real soon. That would be a massive fight. There's plenty of fights for Mikey to make at 135. Fight the guys at your size. Clean that division out, and then if you want, go to 140. But clean out 135 first. Errol Spence, there's countless guys. I mean, he just has to wait for it. And I know this year didn't work out how Errol wanted it. Errol wanted mega fights this year, and it just didn't come through. Like, you can't blame Errol Spence for that. He's done everything he was supposed to do. But clean out 47. Wait till next year. Fight twice next year. Fight 3 times next year. You know, fight Danny. Fight the winner of Danny and Showtime. And then in the end of the year or the fall or whatever, fight Keith Thurman. If he ever comes back. If he doesn't come back, then his belt will... If Keith Thurman doesn't fight again by next fall, I'm sure the WBA would strip him of his belt. Then go fight Manny Pacquiao if he still has a belt. Right? Go fight Terrence Crawford. But clean out your division. Right? Bob Arum and Terrence Crawford have fought Al Haymon fighters before. So this fight could have... a Terrence Crawford Errol Spence fight, although we don't see it happening in the foreseeable future, we do see it happening, period. So... It'll happen, and when the money is right, make the fight. Which we think the earliest you'll see a Spence Crawford fight is fourth quarter of 2019. But we do think you'll see it. So there's plenty of fights in both the lightweight division for Mikey and the welterweight division for Errol Spence. So fight those fights, right? Mikey's not a welterweight; he's a lightweight. He would be a frantically small lightweight against a massively big welterweight. It's just a bad. It was just, you'd have, Mikey would be really, really small for the welterweight division, and Errol Spence would be massively big. That's just a bad combination of things to do. So, yeah, it's an interesting fight. I'd watch the fight. If it was on pay-per-view, I'd pay for the fight, but I'm not really for the fight, right? I'm not, it doesn't do anything for me, and I'm actually opposed to the fight, right? Fight the guys at your own size. Staying in the welterweight division, Showtime Shawn Porter and Danny Garcia is finally confirmed and set for September 8th at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn for the WBC strap, the one that was vacated by Runtime Thurman. This is a great fight. We are really into this as fans. This is a long time coming. It's hard to believe this fight hasn't been made, right? I mean, with all the top names in the welterweight division, that we haven't gotten this fight yet, but we're finally getting it. It's September 8th. Confirmed in the Barclays Center. I'm interested in knowing who y'all like in this one. I am ever so slightly leaning towards Danny Garcia. I like his counterpunching. I think he's a bit quicker. I think he's got better legs. Quicker legs, at least. And he's a bit more versatile in the ring than is Showtime Shawn Porter. I think Garcia can do more things, right? I mean, Showtime Porter, we love Showtime Porter. He's all-out aggressive. He's a bull in the ring. I love watching him. But I think at this level, Danny can do a little bit more. And right now, I could change this before September 8th. And I'll go back and forth on this probably. But right now, I'm leaning towards Danny Garcia. But could I see Showtime Shawn Porter winning? Yeah. I know Garcia had this sensational knockout over Rios where he basically destroyed him with that one shot, with the one right hand. But I'm not convinced of his power at 47. It's decent, right? But Porter, could I see Porter walking through it, is what I'm saying? And beating him down and wearing him down? Yeah, I could see that. Could I see Showtime Shawn Porter doing to Garcia what he basically did to Berto? Yeah, I could see all that. So I'm not convinced on Danny Garcia, right? Like, I think if it's a knockout, it's Showtime Porter who knocked out Danny Garcia. If it goes 12 rounds, I think Garcia puts together a point victory. So right now, I'm ever so slightly leaning towards Danny Garcia to win that fight. But let us know what you think. Leave your thoughts, comments below, leave your predictions. We're really into this fight. We think it's going to be a fun, all-action fight. Two guys who know each other. And two fairly even fights. Like, I'm having a real difficult time picking a winner, but right now I'm edging towards Danny Garcia, but that's not an official prediction. But let us know what you think below. Leave your thoughts, comments, leave all of that below. The winner of this fight would be the mandatory for Keith Thurman. And there's been a Keith Thurman sighting, believe it or not. Stop the presses. Stop the presses. Keith Thurman was seen hitting the pads and sparring. Like actual boxing action, right? Like boxing activities. That is unprecedented. Now, we know he hurt his hand back in March, which put him out again until now. Whatever. I don't believe a second of that, right? But he hurt his hand back in March, and we're now almost in August, and now he can start hitting the bags again and hitting the mitts. So it must have been a terrible, terrible injury, and no one ever saw him in the gym. But let's ignore that, right? Let's get. We patiently await Keith Thurman's next injury, right? Because he's back in the gym, which means he'll certainly get hurt again. Thurman has been penciled in to fight in April, May, and next week. Okay, Keith Thurman was scheduled to fight August 4th at the Barclays. Obviously, he's not fighting. He canceled or postponed or whatever all three of those scheduled dates. He's fought once in a year and a half, and he's fought 2 times in 3 years. This is in the absolute prime of his career. From the years of 26, 27, 28, and now he's 29, he's fought twice. I mean, this is ridiculous. He still has the WBA strap. We don't understand how. I mean, you never had to defend it. There's no defenses that you have to make of this belt. They'll just let you hold on and be a champion forever, I guess, is the thing with the WBA now. Except for Rigondeaux. They stripped they stripped him, right? I don't know what Keith Thurman is doing. I don't believe that Keith Thurman is fighting again. Not anytime soon. But even if he is, right? Let's say he comes back September, October. I guess October would be the earliest, right? Because there's nothing even rumored or in the making right now. He was in the gym hitting pads. Is the most we have seen out of Keith Thurman. So let's say he fought in October. He only fights once every year and a half. So to say that he's the mandatory for Danny Garcia or Showtime Porter, whoever wins that fight could be 2 to 3 years out because Keith Thurman doesn't fight. I'm not saying he doesn't fight anyone, that he ducks people. When he fights, he usually fights a good fighter, right? Like his last 3 opponents have been Collazo, then Porter, then Garcia. So when he does fight, once in the blue moon, it is a good fight. It is a competitive fight. It is a good fight. It's a top-notch fight. But, he doesn't fight at all. He just doesn't get in the ring. He has better things to do. And I'm not knocking him. It's a part of life, right? Like, before I got married, I worked in the financial sector. I worked 60, 70, 80 hours a week, every single week. All I wanted to do was make money. I made a lot of money. And I got married, and I said, well, I've made some good money. I don't want to work 80 hours a week. I have a life now. I have a wife. I have kids. I don't want to work every single moment of my life. So you start to, your priorities start to shift. And we know that Thurman's got married. I don't know if he has any kids, but we know that he got married. Maybe he doesn't want this anymore. And if he doesn't want it anymore, he doesn't want it anymore. Maybe he's really good with his money. Maybe he never has to work again. Okay, but then just be honest. Don't say you're going to fight 3 times this year. You're going to fight in April. You're going to fight in May. You're going to fight in October. You're going to fight in August. And you're going to fight everybody. He's not fighting anyone. Let's be realistic. I will not believe that a Keith Thurman fight is actually happening until he steps in the ring. Right? He said he was going to fight 3 times this year. He said he was going to fight. He told the WBC in October, last October, that he was going to fight in January. January became late February, early March. Late February, early March became April 14th at the Barclays Center against Jesse Vargas. Then that became May 29th against no one in particular, but he was going to fight in May. And then he broke his hand, or whatever he pretends to have done, and that became August 4th, and now August 4th is just not on the table, but he is hitting pads. So I don't believe a word that comes out of Keith Thurman's mouth. Nothing that Keith Thurman says is true. So we'll see if and when he ever fights again. I'm not convinced that he will. He may fight, he may not. I'm not really convinced either way, but because Keith Thurman showed pictures, a little video of himself sparring without headgear on, so you knew that it was him, which was staged from the get-go, and hitting pads. I hit pads with my 3-year-old kids. Do you think they're going to fight in a world title fight anytime soon? You know what I'm saying? Of course not. So this is just utterly ridiculous. Let us know what you think. Do you think Keith Thurman is actually coming back? If so, against who? He said he wouldn't fight anyone in the top 10 in the welterweight division, which includes Jesse Vargas. Josecito Lopez is a name that's been thrown around, but Josecito Lopez, who's coming off a win, says he's not sitting around waiting. And that would be a fun fight. I would like to see that fight, actually. I think it's a good comeback fight. Josecito Lopez is a good opponent that'll make Keith work and it'll bring a fight to him. But at the end of the day, Keith Thurman, you would think, would win that fight, and possibly by stoppage, too, even though one time is now run time or split decision time, right? He's not one time anymore. He doesn't really knock people out anymore, which is fine. But let us know what you think. Is this Keith Thurman thing for real? Is he going to fight again? Is it just a publicity stunt to hopefully stop the WBA from stripping him too? Or what's the deal with Keith Thurman? Let us know. You know my thoughts on Keith Runtime Thurman. We don't think Runtime's going to be back in the ring anytime soon. But you let us know what you think. Leave your thoughts and comments below. Leave it all below. Let us know who you think Keith Thurman is going to fight next, or if you think he's not going to fight anytime soon. Leave all that in the comment section. For 3D Boxing, this is Friday's Check Hook signing off. Have a great day. Thank you, and God bless.
Enjoy 3D Boxing vlog videos? Show us some love by clicking the like button. Don't miss a tweet, post, story, or video. 3dboxingvlog.com is also on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Hit the subscribe button now to stay inside the ring.